Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. I am your host, Jon Herold. Hope you all are having a great hump day so far. It is Wednesday. Plenty of news to discuss. I think lots of clips I'm going to show you. I know Ghost and Matt Aird, I think, are live right now doing breaking history. So we'll see if we get our normal crowd here in a little bit. Real or Red Pill 78 wife, good to see you. Got the regulars in the chat. Bay Arthur's Dick wonders, what if the government shut down and nobody noticed? We are on what day are we on of the shutdown? Day 14 and a half. Look at that. It's almost been half a month. It's been over 2 weeks of a shutdown government. I personally have not noticed a thing. But I know other people have. So again, empathetic. Let's not get into that argument again. Just Ghost, no Matt on that show. Okay. Did not realize that. Bay Arthur's Dick also asked, hey, John, have you finished that damn project yet? I have finished my part of it. There's just some minor other things that we are finishing up. It will likely be released this week. But that's about all I can say on it for now. So excited for you guys to see it. And we'll be dropping here soon. Deb Rich, shutdown hasn't affected me at all. CC, she's been complaining about this a lot lately. My USPS package went to Guam and Hawaii. Yes, we've noticed. Yeah, she's getting some tinctures or something from Tamarack Garden. And somehow, instead of getting shipped to North Dakota, they got shipped to Guam and then Hawaii. And then I don't even know where it's at right now. It's probably on its way to Mars. God in America says, happy my birthday. Thanks for all your work. Perry, happy birthday. Is that Perry I did an interview with a long time ago? If it is, should shoot me a text. I think you still have my number. Good to hear from you. Good to see you. And happy birthday. Mom of three boys. John, do you know who Bea Arthur is? Golden Girls. I've never watched Golden Girls. Not even like an episode. So no, I had no idea who that was. Spetzel, today is payday for military. Did the terror funding get moved and targeted along with the WIC? I don't know. We'll talk about it. Let's get a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll probably just sit here in silence and watch the shutdown clock go up for the rest of the show. No, just kidding. We will talk about things. First up, we got a little MyPillow. Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings. Regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
There we go. People are commenting in the chat about me not knowing who Bea Arthur is or not watching Golden Girls. Red Pill 78 wife says he's a young man. We can't expect him to be as cool as most of us. I do kind of disavow that. People are saying that the name would be funnier. Bea Arthur's Dick. I mean, I feel like any name with Dick in it is going to be funny. You know what I mean? Or maybe I'm just that immature, and maybe to me it'll be that way. But they're saying it'd be funny if I actually knew who it was. And maybe that's true. That's probably true because it's funny as is. Cece says you bought me Golden Girl socks. I did buy her Golden Girl socks, but that does not mean I had to, like, there was no requirement for me to watch the Golden Girls prior to purchasing the socks. I just knew that she had some of the socks, but was missing some of the other characters. So I got the full set, so she had all the characters again. And here, this is the point right here. Miss Rise Attire. I don't know if Golden Girls has reached North Dakota yet. It probably hasn't. Probably hasn't. Okay, let's we do have another couple sponsors. Badlands Shop. I'm not going to play the ad. I just want to get to what we're going to be discussing today. Badlandsmedia.tv. Go in the menu, go to Badlands Media. You can either go to the shop in the menu on badlandsmedia.tv or go directly to badlandsmedia.tv/shop. Check out all the merch and whatnot that we got there. Also, badlandsmedia.tv/rise. Speaking of Rise Attire, they have some awesome merch for us as well. And then last thing here is Cocoa Beach, guys. Our conference is coming up. We are just a few weeks away. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing another exclusive live stream for ticket holders, whether that's in person or virtual. So if you haven't yet, I'd encourage you to get your ticket. Single day tickets are now on sale, and virtual tickets are on sale at a discounted rate. So if you plan on getting tickets later, you can get it now for cheaper than you will later. And then you can use the extra money to buy Bitcoin or something. Badlandsmedia.tv/events. Make sure you go to the website because there's also a whole bunch of Badlanders meetups and groups there for you to join. Check it out. But all right, let's start buzzing through. There was an interesting story. Normally I start the show with an update on the Doge website, and I guess I'll do that still. No change. But Just the News put out a story on it. And it's interesting framing. They're a little more optimistic, I would say, than I am about it. Doge says that it has created $210 billion in taxpayer savings. Yet somehow those taxpayer savings don't get reflected in terms of money back to the taxpayers. Trump and Elon's Doge effort to reduce government costs in conjunction with reducing the size of workforce fulfills mostly a campaign promise that many Americans were anxious to see implemented. The actual numbers can get complicated. The Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Whatever happened to Vivek? Ever since that whole H-1B thing he did, where he like shit all over the American dream, he's kind of disappeared. He called us all lazy or whatever. And said you don't have work ethic if you're not from India. Paraphrasing, whatever. But he's kind of disappeared. I know he's running for governor of some state, but maybe I don't follow him on Twitter or something. I just don't see anything from him anymore. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. They're touting that it has reached $214 billion in federal spending reductions as of October 4th, according to its official website. That's weird. They put out the story October 14th, but the number they pull is from October 4th, which I guess doesn't matter. It's the same number right now. Anyway, on the campaign trail in October 2024, when Musk announced his most ambitious target, stating that Doge could reduce the federal spending by at least $2 trillion. The actual savings has been subject of considerable argument with endless debate about economics and market forces. You know what? Let's do a little math problem with Comet, my little AI friend that I got here. If from January, that's probably right, yeah, 20th to, what's the date today? October 15th, the government has, geez, I can't type, has saved $214 billion at that pace. No, actually, we can even make this. Should I do it based on like, because they give dates here of like they had 55 billion in February, then 105 billion in March, 160 in April, 180 in June. Like, should I do it based on the pace of how it's dramatically slowing down, or should I just do it? This is how much they've saved since started. Curious what you think. DeWine got mad and put a 90-day suspension on marijuana sales. That's stupid. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it both ways. Let's start with this one. At that pace, how much will be saved by what will be January 20th of 2029? I should probably share my screen again. If the government saved $214 billion by January 20th, 2055, the estimated total savings would be about 1.17 trillion. So little over half of what we were promised. But now let's do it the other way. Just got to get some of these dates here. I think this will be a little more realistic in why I've showed and expressed frustration over the numbers. Okay, let's see here. If the government, I know this is why you all tune in to me to watch me do math word problems. The government has saved, say, $55 billion by February. $105 billion by March. At that pace, how much will we have saved by January 20th, 2029, when the next president is inaugurated? Projecting January 29. Just give me a number. At the current decelerating rate, projected cumulative savings by January 20, 2029 would be approximately 490 to 500 billion. It's a rough estimate. It's an actual future savings depend on many factors. And that is, that's why I've been concerned. Like, it started out hot, even though probably not on pace to actually get us where we needed to, maybe the first month, but we were promised a lot of savings, and I believe there's a lot of savings to be found. That's the problem here. I believe there is a lot of savings to be found if things are done right. And I know there's a lot of factors that we're yet to even reap the rewards of in terms of firing people, reduction in force, other savings, spending. Who knows? Who knows? But I think there's reason to voice concern, guys. So thank you for coming to my math show. Fun with math. If there are any other math problems you'd like me to address, just let me know in the chat, and I will get right on that. Let's see what else. There's nothing really new on the presidential website except for this National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk. Yesterday, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously. On the afternoon of, let me just play the clip. Let's do this. I'll play a couple clips.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to Charles James Kirk. Accepting on behalf of Charlie is his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk was one of the most influential American political figures of his generation. At just 18 years.
Okay, there's some besmirchery in the chat already about my math. Spetzel says, it would be a lot more entertaining if you were doing the math problems, John. Ditch the AI and give it a try. My son brings home his math scores, like problems and stuff. Math is my jam. I love doing math. I love Excel spreadsheets. I love playing around with all that stuff, figuring out those problems. My analytical brain loves going through that stuff. And so we just had parent-teacher conferences 2 days ago, yesterday, Monday. At the beginning of the year, they do this test or whatever to see where they're at with math. And my son, he's very smart. He just has a focus problem. Like, he gets so bored doing anything, and his mind is like always out in la la land thinking about all the amazing things he's done. like in football, like even when we're playing football, for instance, we'll be playing catch, and I'll be like, "Okay, go do this route," and then he won't do it. And I was like, "Well, do you remember the route I told you?" He's like, "No, I wasn't listening." Like, well, bro, like you were standing right next to me looking at me doing the route on the ball, right? So how do you not? So imagine if he can't even run a football route while looking at it. Imagine the struggle it is for him to like focus on math. But his score at the beginning of the year was not very good, just because he didn't care. His score at the end of the year was like 90 something percentile. He is 7. Spencer me thinks John don't protest too much. Maybe. My son had an awesome interception to end the game in his flag football game on Sunday, though. That was cool. He was pumped about that. He didn't have a very good game before that. So lucky he did get that interception. Otherwise, he might have been sleeping in the garage for the embarrassment he had bestowed upon me. But he definitely redeemed himself. Anyway, let's watch the rest of this.
He founded Turning Point USA and grew it into the largest conservative youth organization in the nation. For over a decade, he tirelessly traveled the country, leading a movement to restore respect for our founding principles, reawaken our national identity, and inspire a renewed spirit of religious devotion. He was one of the great debaters and communicators of his time. Despite receiving repeated threats, he remained undeterred and modeled courage, logic, humor, and grace to the next generation. On September 10th, 2025, at age 31, Charlie Kirk was assassinated while addressing a group of students. The United States honors him as a martyr for truth and freedom.
There you go. Not sure how many people showed up to that. I heard it was going to be a lot. Yeah, sorry, I went a little squirrel mode there. Good to see you, call sign Cujo. But anyway, so yeah, that was yesterday. I got a couple of economic things I want to talk about. So yesterday we discussed the whole Chinese situation and how markets were kind of rebounding. Maybe it was yesterday, the day before. It seemed like tensions were easing a little bit. Trump and Xi are going to meet. It's going to be fine. Today, there's been a little bit of a change in the narrative again. Like it's kind of reverting back to, oh no, China's kind of the bad guy. Like Trump put this out yesterday. I believe that China purposely not buying our soybeans and causing difficulty for our soybean farmers is an economically hostile act. We are considering terminating business with China having to do with cooking oil and other elements of trade as retribution. As an example, we can easily produce cooking oil ourselves. We don't need to purchase it from China. Now, this is the second time Trump has called something China has done in terms of economics a hostile act. And I'm really keen in on this, and I'm loving it because if you've watched or attended any of our GARTs, I think it was in Deadwood, and I believe it was during the Power Hour when General Quast got up and started talking about this. It might have been during the intelligence community panel. I don't remember which one, but anyway, General Quast made a comment about how the weapon Trump has been using is an economic one. And so when we see these like hostile acts and Trump phrasing economic things as hostile acts, I think that's interesting. I think it's really interesting. And it's the second time now. The first one was the letters he sent. Now it's them not buying our soybeans. And we also have some comments from Scott Bessent and I don't know his name. Maybe Richard Greer. Not Richard Greer. Richard Greer's the actor, isn't he? Something Greer, Chad Greer. But let's play this one first.
Thank you all for being here at Treasury today in the midst of this shutdown. We call on the moderate Democrats in the Senate to be heroes. Be heroes. Break away from the hive of radicalism and do something for the American people, because we are starting to cut into muscle here. We believe that the shutdown may start costing the U.S. economy up to $15 billion a day. And this is a decision the Democrats are making. And one of the reasons that they are not being held to task is because the mainstream media is not coming at them the way they would have if The Republicans were willing to keep the government closed. It is a very simple decision. Mike Johnson passed a clean CR. Leader Thune has the clean CR. 3 Democrats have voted for it. And right here, right now, I am calling for the moderate Democrats to be heroes, and reopen the government for the American people.
So, I mean, that wasn't about the China stuff. Those will be the next clips I play. But I did want to play that because it is interesting that he's trying to appeal to the Democrats wanting to be heroes, which they're not. None of these politicians. The only politician I can think of that's a hero is Trump, and Trump I do not consider an actual politician. So I just found that funny. But here's the clip of Bessent and what he has to say about China. It's kind of a long one, but that's what she said, and I think it's worth it.
As the president said, we want to help China, not hurt it. If some in the Chinese government want to slow down the global economy through disappointing actions and through economic coercion, the Chinese economy will be hurt the most. And make no mistake, this is China versus the world. They have put these unacceptable export controls on the entire world. China is a command and control economy, and we and our allies will neither be commanded nor controlled. They are a state economy, and we are not going to let a group of bureaucrats in Beijing try to manage the global supply chains. As Ambassador Greer said, we had a document and an agreement in Geneva, and magnets were flowing quite well. Some U.S. auto companies have called us in the past week and said that there had been a slowdown in magnets. So when we asked the Chinese about this, they said, oh, it probably had something to do with the holiday. So they can't be trusted with the global supply chain. Had something to do with the holiday. Moreover, this should be a clear sign to our allies that we must work together, and work together we will. There will be a series of meetings this week during World Bank IMF week, and we are all aligned. Not only is China fueling Russia's war, but China's actions have once again demonstrated the risk of being dependent on them on rare earths, and for that matter, anything. If China wants to be an unreliable partner to the world, then the world will have to decouple. The world does not want to decouple. We want to de-risk.
So I'm going to stop it here. People asking about the flag in the background, first of all, that is the flag, the official flag for the Department of Treasury. This is their symbol or whatever. But anyway, I'm loving what he's talking about here. We're not looking to like decouple from you guys. We're looking to de-risk. Those two things are separate, and maybe maybe part of de-risking involves like decoupling some of these relationships, but no country should be totally reliant on another country for anything, especially the United States. But we've had leaders for decades and decades who have sold us out to places like China in the forms of kickbacks and all these corruption deals. Like you look at the Bidens and what they did and the deals that Hunter Biden had with BHR investments, and he still has investments in some of these Chinese Communist Party related companies or connected companies. You think the trade stance that we were taking with China isn't connected to stuff like that? You think they're the only ones too? No. It never should have been that way in the first place. That's my point. But part of not relying on these other countries for certain things, because if for whatever reason in the future things do get actually hostile and they cut us off from necessary items that we need, that's a national security risk. That's de-risking. Kind of involves decoupling in some fashion, but that doesn't mean it has to be that way across the board. And I think that's what he's trying to highlight here.
But signals like this are signs of decoupling, which we don't believe China wants. And again, we do not want to decouple. We should work together to de-risk and diversify our supply chains away from China as quickly as possible. China says that these rare earths are used in military materials and that they want to maintain peace in the world. Again, it is the purchase of Russian oil by China that fuels the Russian war machine. China buys 60% of Russian energy. They buy 90% of Iranian energy. So who is fueling the Russian war machine? We will be producing photos soon, supplied to us by the Ukrainian government, that shows Chinese parts comprise substantial amounts of Ukrainian drones. So President Trump is the leader of peace.
Wait, what did he say there?
Russian energy. They buy 90% of Iranian energy. So who is fueling the Russian war machine? We will be producing photos soon, supplied to us by the Ukrainian government, that shows Chinese parts comprise substantial amounts of Ukrainian drones.
Did he misspeak? Did he mean to say Russian drones? Because of the context there, I feel like he probably meant to say Russian drones, but he said Ukrainian drones. And is it actually misspeaking, or is it did he actually like say the real thing? I don't know. That was weird.
So President Trump is the leader of peace. We should work together to de-risk and diversify.
And Ukraine provided evidence. It has to be Russian drones. That must be what he meant. But that's like, it's not surprising. China and Russia are pretty close allies. They do trade with each other. They buy each other's weapons, I'm sure. Like that's not like that shocking to me, to be like, we're going to show you evidence that Russia's drones have Chinese parts. Like, fucking everything's made in China. Pardon my French. Swear jar.
China's highly provocative move comes after we've made significant efforts to de-escalate tensions. While there are substantial actions we could take, we'd rather not. I believe China is open to discussion, and I am optimistic that this can be de-escalated. Ultimately, we are confident in the strong relationship between President Trump and President Xi. We've had substantial communication with the Chinese over the past few days, and we believe that there will be more forthcoming this week.
Great. One more statement I want to read here, talking about rare earths, because I think this is the future. Trump signaled that. We've been talking about it so much, and this, I don't know, there's something about this situation right now that I don't know what it is even. It just doesn't sit right. It seems so fake to me. Like this talk about the rare earths all of a sudden, right before this meeting, Trump making a big deal about the letter, the export control stuff. This is already in the aftermath of the DOD's investment in MP materials here domestically. Our equity stake in Intel, the 10% stake we have. There's just something off about this entire story we're being told about this all of a sudden trade escalation, conflict escalation surrounding rare earths between the United States and China. Something weird.
Others have suggested that the United States has violated a non-existent agreement with the Chinese regarding export controls or the implementation of measures. This is a false narrative deployed to justify these broad and unacceptable Chinese actions. There is, in fact, a published agreement between the United States and China from earlier this year that the US and China would suspend tariffs of over 100% on each other. China further agreed to effectively suspend elements of its rare earths export control regime by expeditiously approving licenses for US companies seeking rare earths. Both countries agreed to this pause on tariffs and rare earth measures for 90 days while we pursued further negotiations, which have gone on quite successfully for the past 6 months. And there is a published agreement about this on official US government and Chinese websites. This is the Geneva Agreement. It's not a secret, it's out there, it's published. We keep our tariffs low, they keep the rare earths flowing. We have not imposed our reciprocal tariffs on the Chinese since that time, but now the Chinese have expanded their rare earth controls. We have complied, they have not. And so in this context, this is how China has announced its new and extremely expansive controls on rare earth materials just last week. It's a clear repudiation of everything we've been working toward for the last 6 months, which was a stable tariff situation and a continued flow of rare earths. The short story is that we've had compliance, and the Chinese have escalated, and they've taken this opportunity to make a pretextual claim of non-compliance or other measures to justify this. But the United States won't stand for it. We're in close communication with our allies who have expressed similar views and who are similarly affected. The President has signaled some of the actions we are taking or may take if the Chinese implement this system of controls on the world.
This is just such a funny situation. Like, if you recontextualize it into, like, okay, my son is 7 years old. He has a whole bunch of footballs, okay? He has all the footballs. He has 30 footballs that he has. And everybody wants to play football. Okay, the neighbor kids, all the other kids in the house, they all want to play football, but we're the only house with the footballs. And so they come over and are like, please, we really want to play football. We really, really want to play football. I'll give you this golf ball in exchange for a football. My son's like, no, it's my football. I don't want to do that. You go have your parents buy you your own football. Go get your own football. I mean, this is not a perfect metaphor, so forgive me. But I'm just like recontextualizing my head. It's like we're pretending, at least this is what we're being told, we're pretending to complain because China won't let us play with its toys and it's not being fair. And we're going to tell on you. We're going to tell on you with all these public statements. And if you don't give us some of your toys, then you can't play with our toys, which you probably don't even really care about or want anyway. Because the toy everybody wants is the chips, the rare earth minerals. So this just, there's something weird here. This just seems like a fake narrative. And I think we need to see it through to its conclusion to figure out what they're really trying to do here. And it'll make sense at the end of it, whatever the trade deal is. But I don't know. Maybe this whole thing is just justification for further de-risking or decoupling, as they call it. But anyway, let's keep going here. So this morning, SCOTUS has been hearing oral arguments for, let me see if I can find the actual story on it. I might not even have it pulled up, but I do have a clip I'll play. Yeah, so they've been hearing arguments for the Voting Rights Act and districts that favor Democrats on the basis of race. And Justice Clarence Thomas has a pretty good argument here I want you guys to listen to. And this is again with Louisiana Solicitor General. Take a listen.
What role did Robinson play in the development of SB 8?
Justice Thomas, Robinson is the only reason SB 8 exists. We fought tooth and nail in the Robinson litigation itself in telling the courts that we did not think the Constitution permitted us to draw a second majority black district. As you know, under protest, we drew SB 8 because the threat was that the federal courts were going to do it if we didn't. And that's, I mean, I think that's the best way to conceive of why SB 8 exists. We would never pass SB 8 in the first instance without Robinson, Justice Thomas.
What were the findings in Robinson?
The finding by the Middle District in Robinson was that the plaintiffs in this case were likely to show a violation of Section 2, and the likely violation, and I'm using very broad terminology because I do not know what the underlying violation is. I can't articulate that for you, Justice Thomas, because I don't think anybody can. But I think the finding in the district court's mind in that case was that the likelihood of a Section 2 violation meant that a majority black district was required, a second one. And I think like that was the bottom line. And when our legislature saw that, we understood the marching order, and that's why you see SB 8 as it exists today.
Just briefly, what were the findings that led to that conclusion?
Well, Your Honor, running through the preconditions and the totality of the circumstances, I mean, I think the totality of the circumstances did most of the work for the Middle District in Robinson. Senate Factor 1, the official history of past discrimination. Justice Thomas, we can never outrun the bad era of poll taxes, of grandfather clauses, of literacy tests. I think we're always going to lose across the board on that kind of analysis. And that's what the Middle District in Robinson focused on, is how bad was Louisiana in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And, add all that together, and at the end you have a vote dilution finding that I don't think is clearly articulable in the way that SFFA requires a finding of discrimination to be specified.
He's really hammering him on some of these questions, and I don't think Benjamin Aguinaga gave a very good answer there. I'm curious to see the actual ruling on this when it comes out. I'm sure it'll be in the next couple of weeks or month. Call Sancujo says he's doing his comeback show today, 2 p.m. Eastern, right after this. Good for you, man. Glad you're back up and running. Good to see you. We have this from Trump on True Social. Under my standing authorities as Commander-in-Chief this morning, the Secretary of War ordered a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel affiliated with the designated terrorist organization conducting narco trafficking in the U.S. Southcom area of responsibility just off the coast of Venezuela. Intelligence confirmed that the vessel was trafficking narcotics, was associated with illicit narco terrorist networks, was transiting along the known DTO route. The strike was conducted in international waters, and 6 male narco terrorists aboard the vessel were killed in the strike. No U.S. forces were harmed. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So there you saw it again. Love these. Boom. The worst part about these, maybe the best part, I don't know, depends on your mindset, but this could be totally fake. We have no way of knowing if this is real, or it's only real because Trump's telling us it's real. I know that's very Chris Paul of me, but I find that funny. We got this. Whirlpool Corporation is announcing $300 million investment in U.S. laundry operations, creating 400 to 600 new jobs. That's great. We have this. Ooh, this is a kind of an interesting one. 30 plus news outlets refuse Pentagon press policy, citing threat to press freedoms. More than 30 news organizations have declined to acknowledge a new Pentagon press access policy ahead of a Tuesday deadline, warning it could limit coverage of U.S. military. The policy requires journalists to confirm they understand rules that could label them security risks or revoke their Pentagon press badges if they request classified or certain unclassified information. Why could they be considered security risks for requesting unclassified information? That's kind of absurd. Reuters, however you say it, the Associated Press, Bloomberg, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, CNN, Fox News, CBS, NBC, ABC, NPR, Axios, Politico, The Guardian, The Atlantic, The Hill, Newsmax, Breaking Defense, and Task and Purpose have all refused to sign. I will also say Badlands Media has refused to sign. We were also not asked, but to this point, we have refused to sign. Conservative outlet One American News has agreed to the policy. I think that's interesting because we at one point have had on the show Gabby Cuccia, who used to work for One American News and was the Pentagon correspondent for them. And she was fired by One American News because she was like pushing the issue and being critical of Pete Hegseth. And they fired her over it. And here they bend the knee. That's notable. That's interesting. All 5 major broadcast networks released a joint statement denouncing the policy as unprecedented and threatening core journalistic protections, pledging to continue reporting on the military as they have for decades. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell said the rules only require acknowledgement, not agreement, adding that the policy protects troops and national security. President Trump commented that Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth sees the press as very disruptive to national security, while Hegseth calls the rules common sense. Pentagon set a Tuesday deadline for acknowledgement, warning that reporters who refuse must surrender press badges and vacate workspaces by Wednesday. I want to see if I can actually find the... I don't see it. See if I can find the actual text of the agreement, because I think that'd be worthwhile reading. I have lots of thoughts on this. Number one, I don't believe we have free speech in America. You guys know that. I think it's controlled speech, AI speech, algorithm, all that stuff that does not mean free speech. When it comes to the news, we were promised that we were going to get the new news, the new media. We haven't gotten that. It's all still it's the old guard. It's all the same people. It's all the mainstream. Look at these names that I just listed off to you. Nobody new in here. Not a single one. Now you can make the argument, well, this is how they're getting rid of them now. Maybe, but who's actually in the wrong here? Again, having not actually read the agreement, it's hard to make it's hard to have a full opinion on it. So I will try to do that and address that tomorrow. But just based on what I've seen so far, especially this one, the requesting unclassified information, being labeled a security risk for that is kind of absurd. I also, there's a lot of talk about the Smith-Mundt Act and how, it's because they made it so that it was legal for these news agencies to propagandize people. And I understand the problem with that. I don't think you could penalize it. People are still going to do it. And then it's up to the people who determine what is true. The arbiters of truth will be the ones that have to determine whether something's right or wrong. And we have seen that you can't trust people labeled as the arbiters of truth because it's still political. It's still biased. And if we're in control, yeah, that's great. Our side gets to be the arbiters of truth. Then the people that disagree with us, they're speaking lies. But maybe that's not true. Maybe they are true, what they're saying. Look at what we went through with COVID. So I don't like penalizing that. What I'm in favor of and what I think needs to happen is level playing field. Get rid of the algorithms. Get rid of anything that restricts people's reach in any form. Anything that restricts people's access to information in any form. Because if somebody wants to be lied to and doesn't take it upon themselves to question the information they're being told, that's on them. They could go out and seek more information. If they want to just soak in whatever CNN is telling them and live their life based on that information, that's on them. When other, especially places like Badlands and the ones that are censored and can barely, we're getting our YouTubes back, but not really. That information's out there. If there was an evil playing field and did I say evil? Equal playing field and equal access to information, I think that would fix a lot of the propaganda problems that are out there. Anyway, Pi Squared says bring back the Smith-Mundt. Also says OAN is one of the last legitimate news sources, in my opinion. I like some of the people over there. I like Chanel Rion. I don't really have any issues with Matt Gaetz. I like some of the people there. I do. But I do have questions about what happened with Gabby Gachia, and it's all around the Pentagon and the press corps there. It's just, there's something weird there. I don't know. And it all goes back to the Signalgate story. Remember that when they were talking about things in Signal and it got leaked and there's this huge issue. There were legitimate questions to be asked about why they were discussing legitimate military operations and whatnot in a Signal chat. Let's keep going here. I still have a lot to get through and only 15 minutes to do it. Los Angeles County declares state of emergency over federal immigration raids. LA County voted Tuesday. LA County sucks. I did an article on them on my website, on my Substack, devolution.us right now. I don't think devolution.link is back up and running, but if you scroll down, there's exposing LA County elections, largest county in the country, and their elections leave much to be desired. Lots of stolen elections there. Lots of fraudulently elected individuals in positions of power there. Anyway, they declared a state of emergency in response to ongoing federal immigration raids, citing widespread community and economic disruption. The measure, introduced by Supervisors Lindsay P. Horvath and Janice Hahn, passed 4-1, with Supervisor Catherine Barger dissenting. County officials said the declaration will allow them to provide financial and legal assistance to residents impacted by ICE operations. So they're just giving over money, which they're probably getting from the federal government, which they're getting from the taxpayers. Stupid. Congressional investigators collected 30 million lines of Trump-related phone data. That is a lot of phone data. Congressional investigators obtained an estimated 30 million lines of phone data mapping communications between conservatives and the Trump White House during the January 6th investigation, a massive surveillance effort that raises serious privacy concerns. The collection was disclosed in late 2023 when Adam Kinzinger offered the trove to the FBI without a warrant. According to a Bureau memo reviewed by Just the News, Kinzinger told agents the data had been compiled by former Rep. Denver Riggleman, who helped the Democrat-run committee use congressional subpoenas to collect telephone toll information, including White House switchboard numbers. Remains unclear whether the FBI accepted the offer. I bet this is a little precursor, and I bet we're going to find out they did. I bet we'll find out they did. Also, Rep. Adam Kinzinger is the human form of a tampon. A tampon in its final form, when you've had one in for so long, you finally become the tampon. That is Adam Kinzinger, in my opinion. Kinzinger said Riggleman identified certain telephone connections between White House numbers and private individuals, said he may have received little direction on how to handle the roughly 30 million lines of data. The memo recently uncovered by FBI Director Kash Patel drew attention because the outreach occurred in December of 2023, nearly a year after the January 6th panel had dissolved and just weeks before the 2024 primary season began. Jack Smith was in the middle of his heyday at that time. This is notable. This story is going to end up being a pretty big one, and I don't think it's going away. The judge denies DOJ effort to restrict Comey's access to evidence. Federal judge in Virginia rejected a Justice Department request to limit Comey's access to evidence in his upcoming trial on false statement and obstruction of justice charges. The government's proposed protective order ruling, the judge denied it, ruling it would have unnecessarily hindered and delayed Comey's defense. Manoff, appointed by Joe Biden, said the proposal tipped the balance too far against the defendant's rights to a fair trial, noting it failed to clearly define what constituted protected material. I'm curious to see that trial. I think it'll be a good one. The U.S. revokes visas of dozens of Mexican politicians amid the cartel crackdown. Should put that on a shirt. Somebody trademark that. The cartel crackdown. So, yeah, they've revoked visas for 50 Mexican politicians. No biggie. Let's see. I know I have more. Oh, here's Trump talking about the auto pen. This story is also not going away. So I want to share this.
You heard about the auto pen, the person that really operated the auto pen, but it was really the people that told the person that operated the auto pen what to do. Those are the people that really were president. Okay, so we're not going to stand for it in this country. And by the way, that auto pen thing is under serious investigation. Just this, I don't think you care because you're from Argentina. You couldn't care less about that. But I just want to say, because I do the weave, the weave, cover a lot of different subjects. But the people that are involved in that auto pen scam, because he barely signed anything. I mean, this guy, I don't know how you can be president. He barely signed it. But the only thing we can find for sure is that he signed Hunter's pardon, his pardon. Hunter's pardon. I like that. That's a good combination.
See, he misspeaks just like I do. That's great. But this clip is loaded. We'll talk about this tonight in the Power Hour. The auto pen, who's really running the country. This story's not going away. And it's part of the RICO case, in my opinion. I don't have the video here, but supposedly there's videos showing Hamas carrying out execution-style killings in Gaza now that this is after the Peace 2025, big deal, peace deal they had. I don't know if it's true, but regardless, I think they're trying to justify, like I said, what happened. Like a lot of people said what happened, not just me. Justify a reason not to uphold the peace deal. A couple more economic stuff. Fed's Stephen Moran, the guy who wrote the Mar-a-Lago Records, we talked about him a lot. He sees China trade tensions as a further reason for quick interest rate cuts. And maybe that is the purpose of this whole thing, is they want to make sure that they get another Fed rate cut here. I think it's got to be soon. When is the next meeting? Next meeting is October 20th, 29th. But he says the tensions here are a reason for the cut. He has advocated for another 1.25 percentage point in cuts on top of the quarter point move the Federal Open Market Committee approved in September. I would love to see that kind of cuts. That'd be great. The Trump administration will set price floors across range of industries to combat China, Bezen says. I can't think we already addressed that. I mean, here's the last story. Is that the last story? I don't think so. It is. Awesome. Okay. NVIDIA, Microsoft, XAI, and BlackRock part of $40 billion deal for aligned data centers. Those companies I just read are part of a consortium of investors that have agreed to purchase aligned data centers for $40 billion. The companies announced Wednesday. Aligned designs and operates data centers and data campuses across North and South America and is owned by Macquarie Asset Management. So, again, another data center deal. Stuff's always interesting to me. And then one thing I want to announce here real quick before, I don't think I had any other rants come in other than the God America happy birthday. Happy birthday. Shipwreck Show. If you guys don't know who Shipwreck is, she has a show every Wednesday on Badlands, and she is great. She's a firecracker. I've been on her show. She was on Burning Bright's The Narrative this last Sunday. She is, I don't even know how to describe her properly. She's great. She's great. But I'm trying to think of like a word, like, I don't think firecracker does her justice. Just saying she's like uncensored, unfiltered doesn't do her justice either. She says the things that everybody is thinking, but for whatever reason they won't say, because maybe they'll get like they don't want their mouth like washed out with soap or something by their parents. That's her. Anyway, she's having Ian Carroll on tonight on her show. I think it could be an interesting show. I think it'll be really good. I'm not a fan of Ian Carroll. I just like the vibes, some of the things he said. I've liked some of the things he said, but not everything. It's fine. But I think it's going to be interesting, especially with Shipwreck having the discussion with him. So make sure you guys tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Badlands, Shipwreck Show, and Ian Carroll. And then also tonight, Power Hour, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. That'll be good. And then Altered State with Brad and Zach, that'll be going live at 9 p.m. Eastern. So good night, busy night here on Badlands Media. Make sure you stick around, give us a follow, hit that thumbs up, get yourself some soft disclosure, softdisclosure.com. And yeah, with that, I think I'm getting messages on Kick. Is that weird? Jesus Servant. Feel free to add me on Discord so I can join your live streams whenever you're live. Dan V. Hick 98. Well, if you are a real person and not a bot, because I have had a lot of bots reach out, be like, if you want to quadruple your platform, whatever. Babbage 3 note, Shipwreck Show is on the Badlands Network, but only on Rumble. I'll talk to her about that because I think we should be safe to stream to YouTube now. So I'll make sure she does that tonight. Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. Get yourself some soft disclosure, support Badlands Media, get yourself some GART tickets, whether in person or virtual. And other than that, I will see you guys tonight. You guys have a great rest of your Wednesday.
They say confidence starts with a smooth skin. And baby, soft disclosure lotion delivers.
I swear by this stuff. Like, I kid you guys not. This is the first lotion I've ever had in my entire life that, like, I don't get ashy after I put it on any part of my body. Like, my hands are always dry, and my hands have not gotten ashy without, like, rinsing them through water and washing them with soap since I started putting soft disclosure on. Like, it is Black Man approved. I kid you not.
Black Man approved. You heard him. And let's be real. If it can handle his hands, it can handle anything.
Feet are like, they get so dry, like the heels of them, it'll just kind of like flake off. Like, but with soft disclosure, once you put it on, like it starts to absorb it.
Yeah, he went there. Don't worry, we won't show you his feet, but trust us, they're smoother too. Soft Disclosure lotion is made with aloe, goat's milk, honey, and our exclusive oil blend that actually restores your skin barrier. Visit softdisclosure.com, use code BADLANDS, and get 15% off.
stopping me.